Mr. President, are you there? I'm here. Mr. President, could you just make for the record that I'm present? Because I missed a roll call vote, so they're aware that I voted.
I will do that. Okay, we have a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved. Second, Director Webb.
Okay, motion was made by Director Glennon, seconded by Director Webb. And roll call vote.
President Greg Wood.
Yes.
Vice President Rick. Director Gregory Washington. Hello, are you there?
Hello, yeah, I had an Amber alert there. I'm sorry. Here?
That's okay. Director Byron Glennon
Yes.
and Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries 5-0. I'd like to state for the record that Director Webb joined us a few minutes late, but he was with us in closed session, and he's with us in open session. Okay. Public report on action taken in closed session. There's no reportable action. And we will move forward with our 6 p.m. open session. And again, public comments, I will dispense with the reading of the statute. But let the record show that we are opening the floor for public comments. And these are for non-agenda items. But also note that there will be an opportunity for public comments on all the agenda items as well, if you wish to speak. And so with that, if there's any public comments? All right, being as there are none, I will close public comments. And need to go to minutes, M1. I need a motion to approve minutes.
Second.
Motion is made by Director Glennon, seconded by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood.
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb.
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington.
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon.
Yes.
And Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Consent calendar. I have a motion to approve consent calendar. So moved.
Second, Director Webb.
Motion is made by Director Glennon, seconded by Vice President Webb. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood.
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb.
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington.
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon.
Yes.
And Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Okay, and next we'll move on to presentations of PR1 Water Reclamation Plant Project Update and PR2 ACP Pipeline Project Update. And with that, who's making the presentation?
I'll turn it over to Brock and have him make the presentation.
All right.
So the wastewater treatment plant, since the last board meeting, Pacific Hydrotech has installed a majority of the GeoWeb erosion control fabric around the 3 percolation basins. The aggregate that will be used to fill the fabric was delivered today and will be spread across the slopes in coming weeks. The liner subcontractor has installed approximately 85% of the liner in the emergency overflow pond and completed the liner installation in 4 of the 6 new sludge drying beds. Contractor has also started forming the foundation for the new clarifier. A representative from the regional board was on site today to inspect the plant and observe construction. He seemed very impressed with the progress and was excited to see the project go from concept to reality. This is the same representative that helped us through the design phases and also getting our permit from the regional board. And that concludes my update for the wastewater treatment plant.
I might say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brock, but probably 95% of the outside construction work is complete. Is that about right? Or 80%?
Sorry, my phone cut out there. I didn't hear what you said there, Steve.
About about 80% of the outside construction work, dirt work, is complete, approximately.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty close number. What we're waiting for is the shotcrete and the soil cement for the sludge drying beds, and then they'll be finishing up the remaining liner sections and the geoweb sections as well. And from there, it moves on to a lot of the interior work and the electrical work. So a lot of the big processes are completed at this point.
So the controls and SCADA and all of that type of stuff is yet to be done, and that's where, like a house being built, the framing goes up quick, and then the interior finish work starts to slow down. So most of the work ahead is going to be tedious, slow-moving work. But it's coming right along.
Any questions on our water reclamation plant project? Okay, thank you for that, Brock. And then we'll move on to ACP pipeline project.
Go ahead, Brock.
The contractor has completed the installation of all of the main line, service lines, and hydrants in the neighborhood of Oak, Elm, and Orange Street west of 20th. Last week, district staff and the contractor scheduled to connect the newly installed lines to the existing water system. However, during the shutdown process, a faulty valve was found that would have prevented multiple homes from receiving water during the connection. The connection was canceled and will be rescheduled after the faulty valve is replaced by district staff. District staff is also exploring options for redundant connections to the neighborhood affected by the shutdown. This week, the contractor completed the base paving on Oak and Elm Street and will be completing Orange Street this Friday. And that concludes the update for the ACP project.
Okay. Any questions on the ACP pipeline project? All right, thank you, Rob. And new business, adopt the fiscal year 2019-2023 strategic plan. Presenter Steve Perez, General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Several months ago, I sent out the draft strategic plan and received some comments from board members and made corrections to the document. And I might point out that in the strategic elements in this strategic plan, they consist of creating deliberate fiscal revenue resources, conduct succession planning, manage administrative, operational, and maintenance needs, improve the community communications, maintain our water and wastewater systems, and develop a long-range water securitization plan. Part of these elements are in process now, and we're moving right along on most of them. And if you dig deeper into the document itself, it further explains each one of these on how what our objectives are and our strategies to accomplish those objectives. And further in the document is a quick reference guide for each one. It's the strategic plan at a glance, and in that, it gives the strategic elements, the strategic goals, and the estimated completion dates or time frames to accomplish each. The strategic plan is a roadmap and a guide to guide the direction of the district, and it needs to be updated every couple of years to see what the progress is, to add or subtract to it, or to change the direction. And this 5-year strategic plan is our roadmap to the future. But it doesn't come etched in stone. If we change directions, we can amend the strategic plan to accommodate that direction to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Okay, with that, strategic plan looks good. And moving forward, so at this time I will, one of the directors want to make a comment? Okay, then with that, I'll ask a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt the strategic plan as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is made by Vice President Webb to adopt the fiscal year 2019-2023 strategic plan as presented, seconded by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb,
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington,
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon,
Yes.
and Director Ben Stewart.
Yes. Mr. President, I'd like to thank Director Washington for his comments and discussion on the strategic plan. We went back and forth on several items, and which makes it a better document.
Very good, thank you.
Not to mention the rest of the board that's given direction on where they wanted us to go.
Okay, and with that, we move on to director reports, comments, future agenda items. And we'll start with Director Stewart.
Good evening, directors. Today, my only comment or concern I want to make sure is that we are addressing all of our staff members we're addressing all of our staff members with their concerns and showing them that they're, it's still business as usual as it is in-house. Make sure that we're doing everybody's reviews and stuff in a timely manner. I know Steve's has to be coming up here sometime soon. So I want to see if we can get some one-on-ones with you, Steve, even if they're phone, and just kind of meet with you and talk with you and see how you feel that this last year's gone and how we feel. And that's about it.
Thank you. Director Washington.
Nothing tonight.
Director Webb.
Director Webb, hey guys, I agree with Director Stewart. Let's make sure we're taking care of the staff and keeping them prepared for the future, wherever it may be. I would like to let the board members know that that budget's going to be a challenge for all of us. So let's start thinking now, so when we look at it a second time, about addressing some of the concerns on there, where we're going to be, where we may not be, not only this budget year, but perhaps the next budget year. So let's start thinking now. So when we sit down and start looking at it a second time, we're not only asking certain questions, but the answers we're getting, we kind of research the question, so the answer doesn't sound real far-fetched. I spoke with the accountant. He didn't paint a real gloom picture, but he did paint a picture that's not rosy. So that's what you have to make peace with. And I ask everyone, just be mindful when you're in public, take care of your well-being, your family's well-being, and don't unmask too soon. Don't stop wearing your gloves too soon, because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And Steve, we have talked before about you working. I know you and we should work on that plan about how you're going to do your incremental startup. I hope you start working on that so we can see how that's going to look sometime next week.
because one week I hear we're going to be real good, and next week we thought about 2 steps. So I'm looking for us to be up the curve or ahead of it than behind the curve. And thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Director Glennon.
Talking about the strategic plan, our consultant was Brent Ives, and we get a monthly little advice column, I guess you could say, from Brent Ives. I hope you get that and read it. This last one is very timely, and it's about body language. And in what we're doing now and the way we're conducting the meeting, really eliminates body language completely, which makes communication not clear many times. I'll just read one sentence. There are significant differences, an exhaustive field of study on how individuals send messages without intending to do so and intending to do so by their body language. And when we do conference calls like this, body language is totally missing. So that means an awful lot of communication is missing. One of the classic examples I've seen over the years of showing body language is to walk up to a door and motion your hand for them to go in and say, me first. And they will walk right in front of you, even though you said me first, because they're not paying any attention to what you're saying. They're watching your body language. And I don't know how much miscommunication is probably going on all these fronts because you don't see the person you're talking to, you know. And it's just timely that Brent happened to put that one in this month.
Very good. I just wanted to make a report. I attended virtually the AVEC meeting last night, and there was a very good presentation given by the General Manager Chisholm, and it was basically talking about the State Water Project and the politics that's involved with it. You know, there was a record of decision that was signed by the President on February 19, 2020. And without going into all the details that he went into, but in a nutshell, the President signed a proclamation to free up water from the Delta. I guess I'd like to get more information on it, but Mr. Chisholm was pointing out that when the State Water Project was originally created, there was provisions for a project to be built to provide more water for Southern California. But it never got completed. And this provision could supply an additional 400,000 acre feet to Southern California. And so the President, from what I understand, he signed this in February 19, 2020, and on February 20th, 2020, the State Attorney General filed a lawsuit to essentially stop it. And so, in a nutshell, what it boils down to is that instead of getting extra water down here, it's now tied up in the courts and everything else. So it brought to mind that the current water summit that Director Washington and I attended, they brought up the deal about produced water that I gave a presentation on right after that meeting. And I thought, you know, what a good time that we could maybe start reaching out to solve some of our water problems down here. While they fight things out in the courts up in Northern California over the Delta smelt, there's a deal here where they were talking about some of the provisions. I didn't realize these are some of the items that are the protected: the Delta smelt, the green sturgeon, the Chinook salmon, spring and winter run, is the Central Valley steelhead. So these are all fishes that are being caught in court. So to take politics out of it, I thought, if we could look into seeing how, if there's an economical and feasible way to secure this produced water, we could actually bring water into our region down here, and they can fight about it up in the Delta in Northern California for the next 20 years, because we got water right here in Kern County that's being produced to produce oil. And so I thought that was interesting, and I can see the frustration, and it's nothing new. They've been fighting over the water up there for forever and a day. So I would hope that maybe we can get this on future agendas, and Steve, maybe you can do some digging and research on it, and see what the feasibility of maybe trying to turn that produce for us here.
I do know that in the oil industry, the oil wells are dug at tremendous depths, 5,000 feet and more in some cases. Some are less, but there's a lot of water produced when the oil rigs are running. And along with the oil comes a lot of water. It has been a problem on how to deal with the excessive water. The cleanup of that water cost, certainly there is a tremendous amount, and if it could be cleaned up for beneficial use, percolated and cleaned up even further, it should be. And it's a good topic to research and find out what we can learn on it. I do have a contact that is the just retired executive vice president of the Independent Oil Producing Association or agency, and I know he knows all there is to know about production water, and would be a real good resource, and maybe at some point in the future would come and do a presentation before a board in regards to that.
That'd be great. But that's all I had to report. I just thought that was just kind of ironic. It's just some things never change, I guess. General Counsel update.
Nothing to report.
And General Manager update.
I sent out a general manager's report, and I don't think I printed me one. But each of you should have received my report in regard to what we've been doing since the COVID started, and how the impacts of the COVID issue itself added a tremendous layer to the staff already heavy plate. So in addition to doing the everyday jobs that we have, we were dealing with that issue also, and my report details that.
Steve, I got a question for you. Yesterday, I was listening to the governor's news conference, and he was, and I went on to the website to kind of see where they break it down specifically on counties moving deeper into phase 2 and maybe getting ready for phase 3 and things of this nature. But he said that there was a couple of counties. One was Lake County, and I think the other one was El Dorado County, have gotten the permission from the state to open up even further than other counties in the state. But he specifically mentioned Kern County. That Kern County had their application in, and they were still working. Do you have any? I looked and I couldn't find, but do you have any idea if Kern County is obviously they're working with the state to expand their opening or something of some nature, but I couldn't find any information. I was wondering if maybe you might have had some
I haven't been able to find anything on that line, but I will say this, that every region, every county, every city, every entity that is deriving their livelihood from property tax revenue or from sales tax revenue are looking to try to open up. And I think it's on a case-by-case basis. What is the impact in your area? Do you have a large impact? Is it rising? Has it curved? If you did have a peak, how far on the downslope are you on that? I think it's an evaluation process. It appears to me that Lake and El Dorado counties, being the mountainous counties that they are, probably don't have as much urban centers. They're more rural, so their probably impacts in COVID are probably less per capita than what we're seeing in some other regions. I do know that the interactive map from the Kern County Department of Health is a very good tool to take a look at to watch how the cases are developing, whether they're dropping or if they're increasing. And now their interactive map has cases by zip code. And when we activated the action plan, I was watching cases in the region, the Antelope Valley, Lancaster, Kern County, LA County, Kern County portion of the Antelope Valley, to see how those things were working, would tell me, what types of actions to take. So right now, I think that everybody's trying to evaluate their own areas, and I would imagine that some are trying to kick off to save their financial offers. And so that's a big concern.
Yeah, I was trying to figure, Governor Newsom wasn't, he just mentioned that Kern County was one of them that they were working closely with on going deeper into phase 2. And, but I couldn't find any specifics. And
I don't think they're going to put out a whole bunch and get everybody excited until they have some good information that it's working, that they're working on it, and it looks promising. We probably won't get much until that happens. But that could be any time now.
So, I'm just curious as to where, we're going to be at a month from now, or 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, or whatever.
I think the rural areas have a better chance of rebounding to normalcy than do the population centers. I do believe that people need to be cognizant of the separation and exercise whatever prudence you would exercise with the regular flu. And, washing your hands and doing all those types of things, I think can really help. Being confined to a home and not being able to move, everybody's feeling the pinch on that. And it may be a little bit burdensome for some, but everybody has to evaluate their own area. I certainly am evaluating our area based on the action plan. Like the Director Webb, he wants to know what type of reactivation plan, if you will, that we're going to take on, how we're going to come back to full operation again. And just as we went down, we need to have a plan to come back up also.
Have you been approached for submitting a reopening plan by Kern County on anything yet?
No. Nope.
Okay.
None of my colleagues that general managers in the area that I know of have been approached by Kern County either.
Because according to the State of California website and everything else, at least what everybody's saying is that to be able to move forward, that you have to submit approved plans for reopening. And I was just curious if we haven't even been approached yet, then it's still probably a ways off.
And I think that's probably geared more for like your retail stuff and your bigger areas. Areas like ours, our district, we're an essential operation as it is. So coming back, we have to exercise prudence and care in coming back. Without us here, the public health and safety is at risk. So we have to be a little bit more prudent than others to ensure that we don't create something within our district that causes a lot of our staff to go out sick. And because with that, if that happens, we're going to have to call in a lot of help to carry the load until our people get well. So I'll be a little bit prudent in deciding to recommend coming back.
I know that you'll get it all figured out when the time comes. All right. Any other questions of our general manager? Thank you, Steve. General manager update, was that?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, Director of Public Works, John?
John isn't on the line, but I'll give a general public works update. Public works staff continues to cautiously work through the current coronavirus pandemic. In addition to repairing the water leaks that arrive with the warmer weather, operators are performing daily spot checks of the wastewater collection system and performing increased maintenance of the bar screen and the influent pumping station at the wastewater treatment plant. We have seen such an increase in the solids and rags coming in through the bar screen that we've doubled our trash collection pickup at the wastewater treatment plant.
People are still putting everything down the toilet that they can, I guess.
Yep.
That's unfortunate. And Brock, do you have anything on the Public Works side, or is that pretty much all the reports that you had?
That's all I have to report.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, with that, a motion for adjournment. Although
Second.
motion is made by Director Glennon, seconded by Director Washington. Roll call.
President Greg Wood,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb,
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington,
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon,
Yes.
and Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
All right. We are adjourned at 6:43. You all have a good evening, and we'll talk to you later.
Good night, everyone.